Hey everyone, welcome to our channel. Today my son Kieran and I are going to start a really cool journey together. We're going to explore the world of money, business, and investing, starting with something called the CFA program, right?
But what is CFA?
Great question. CFA stands for Chartered Financial Analyst. It's like getting a black belt in understanding money and how the world of finance works. Adults study for years to earn this, but today we're going to take our very first step together because you want to be a chartered financial analyst when you grow up, right? It's none of my bias or influence there at all, right? Okay, so before we dive into the CFA, let's talk a little bit about money. What do you think money is?
Money is something that you need to live in the world. Like, you need it to pay rent, food, clothes, water bill, electricity bill.
Right.
Basically everything.
Yeah, money is a tool, isn't it? It helps us trade for things that we want and need. So let's play a quick game here, okay? So let's pretend that I'm a farmer and I have apples and you are a baker with cookies, okay? If I give you one apple for one cookie, and that works out pretty all right? But if I wanted 3 cookies and you only want 1 apple, it gets a little more complicated, doesn't it?
So you would probably have to pay me some money.
Right. If we had money, it makes things a little bit more, it gives us a common ground of value to work off of. So this is just fake monopoly money here, but $50 for, 250 apples or 50 pounds of apples. 50 pounds of apples, that's a pound an apple. $1 per pound, but that's probably a little cheap. But there's things called market rate and going rate and all that, which we'll get into. So it's harder to keep track of things though when there's no money, right? So that's why money was invented. It makes trading much easier. So there's a common currency or common thing that we can refer to when we want to trade. Now, if we add a bank to our game, let's say I lend you some money. Say you are wanting to start a business, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have quite enough money to start your business on your own, but you know that you have a really good idea, and so you're just going to get started on your own. What you might want to do is come to the bank and say, give us a business plan. And we look at that business plan and then we might say, hey, this looks like a great idea. I think it will do really well. And then we'll give you a loan. We'll give you money to start the business, and we'll charge something called interest. Okay? So interest is a little bit extra that's added on. It's like you're paying for money. So you're paying for the privilege to use the money. Okay? This is how businesses grow. Our economy today is very based on debt, and using money, and the cost of money is baked into everything. So what do you think of that?
Yeah, it's very interesting. Kind of confusing.
Yeah? What's confusing about the bank?
I don't know. Like, giving out loans, like, if the bank were to give me a loan and I needed a pretty expensive business,
Okay.
then it would take a little longer to pay out that loan, right?
Well, so typically with a loan, you have monthly payments that include the principal, which is paying down the actual amount of the loan, and then your interest, which is paying the cost of the money. So and your loan typically has a term. Okay, so the loan starts at let's say it's for 60 months, which is 5 years. So you have every year you pay down. Starting off, you pay more interest because the bank wants to make sure that their risk is covered, right? Because when the bank gives you money, they are taking a bit of a chance on you, aren't they? That you'll pay them back and that they'll make good money on you. So and that's why they like to look at a business plan. So you submit a business plan to them, and they evaluate the business plan and they decide based on their knowledge whether your business will do well or not. And then that's how they determine how much interest to charge, and that's also how they determine whether to give you the loan or not. And they also look at your credit worthiness, is what it's called. They want to see how well you've managed credit in the past, and credit is just getting a loan, right? So that's kind of how it works. And you make just monthly payments. You don't have to pay everything back all at once. You make a little bit every month off of the money that your business is making, and that becomes an expense, because when you run a business, you have to do what's called accounting. In your accounting, you're keeping track of where your money is going, who owes you money. Those are accounts receivable, accounts payable, who you owe money, right? So for your bakery idea, okay, let's pretend that you go to the grocery store, and it's a big grocery store because you're going to make cookies, right? And you buy 500 pounds of flour, right?
How would the grocery store have that many?
Well, let's say you're going to a Costco business center or something, because you're doing a lot, or you're ordering it from a supplier like Gordon Food Services.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So you're going to go there, and you're going to get, maybe you have an account with Gordon Food Services. So they deliver flour and sugar and chocolate chips and eggs. Maybe they bring it all to your shop, and you have an account. So that when you keep track of it, you have accounts payable. You owe Gordon Food Services so much. That's how much and then you look at how much it costs you to make cookies. That's called your cost of goods sold, or COGS, COGS, cost of goods sold. And then you charge a markup. So you take how much it costs you to make them with your time, because you want to get paid for doing what you do. And you take your time and your cost of all the materials to make the cookies, and then you mark that total amount up, and you charge your customer this much, because they didn't have to go to the work. They just stopped by on their way home from work or something. And so they're paying you for your good cookie and the time that you spend doing it, so they can just pop in and grab a cookie. So they're paying for the convenience of being able to just grab a cookie real quick, right? So, and that's your markup. That's your margin. That's your profit margin, okay? So that much is how much and out of that profit, you're going to pay for your income. If you have staff, you're going to pay your staff out of that. If you have a shop, you're going to pay your lease or your rent. You're going to pay your utilities, like the cost of the electricity to run the fridge and the stove, and they'll keep the lights on, right?
Yeah.
And then out of that, you're also going to pay back your loan, right? So when you put your business plan together, you want to do market research and understand whether there's actually an ability for you to make money, okay? Whew, big yawn. Is it getting boring?
No.
Okay, so that's enough on that. So let's just look at a little overview of what the CFA is. So the CFA program has 3 levels, just like levels in a video game or earning Pokemon badges, which you don't really do either of those, do you? No. You play the piano, so it's like going up levels in the piano. Okay, so there's first, you're learning the basics. Number 2, level 2, you're investigating businesses and you're learning to make good decisions. And then number 3, you're mastering how to help others grow their money, because a chartered financial analyst is analyzing businesses and learning to recognize which ones are going to grow. So then you can tell people where to invest, and then their money grows. Okay, and some of the greatest stock fund managers in the world, that's what they're really good at. They're really good at picking good companies, like Warren Buffett. Do you recognize that name?
No.
So they call him the Oracle of Omaha. He lives in Omaha, Nebraska. And he started investing when he was very young, like you. And he's still alive today. Mm-hmm. But he is one of the wealthiest men in the world, over $100 billion.
Wow.
Just by investing in really good companies. Okay? So it's kind of like a game where you just keep leveling up. Okay? It takes a lot of practice, just like learning an instrument, like the piano or the violin, or a sport. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So the CFA teaches 3 main things. 1, ethics. So do you know what ethics are?
Not really.
Okay, so ethics are learning how to always do the right thing with money, instead of stealing money from people or lying about it or telling people that it's a good company when it's a really bad company because maybe the CEO wanted you to do that. That's not ethical, right?
Yeah,
that
wouldn't be good. It
would be terrible. And some people go to jail when they do that. So you don't want to do that. So it's learning how to do the right thing with money, and then learning the math behind it, using numbers to make smart decisions.
Math.
Exactly. You definitely need math, and you're learning lots of math. And then the third step is investing, learning how to put money to work so that it can grow. Okay. So, any questions about that?
So say if your cookie business didn't go well,
Okay. Yeah. Good question.
and then you don't find any money, like you get like a little bit of money every day,
Yeah.
but you spend all that on rent, electricity,
Right.
water,
Yeah.
like the loan to the bank,
Uh huh.
the like ingredients for what you're,
Okay.
and then you're in debt, like,
Right.
and then you just go broke.
Yeah. There lots of businesses do go under, especially restaurants. Because your profit margins are very tight. So profit margin is just how much money you're making on top of everything on top of your costs, which would include your loan to the bank. So if you don't have enough money, you're not making enough money, then you have to close the business at a loss, and sometimes you lose a lot of money, or you might even go bankrupt, which is not a very nice thing to happen, which means that you say, I can't pay my debts. And if you own things that are of value, the bank will take those to pay the debts and they'll sell them. And you become what they call insolvent. So that means you are not able to pay your debts anymore. And it typically leaves a mark on your credit report if you are personally guaranteed.
Like a job.
Well, not a job, but you can usually still get a job with bad credit, unless it's in the financial services industry. So as a person who holds a CFA, you always have to make sure that your credit score is very good. But yes, when you do not have enough money to pay the bills, you either close the business out and you try and sell your assets, like your fridge and your stove and all that. You try and sell those to pay back the bank. But if you still don't have enough, you might have to go bankrupt, which is not great. It's a great question though. So today, let's do a little recap. We learned that money is a tool. We learned how banks help people to get businesses and grow businesses. We talked a little bit about what the CFA program is about. So next time, we'll dive a little deeper into saving, spending, and giving, okay? And maybe we'll get to play with money that's not fake. So, all right. So thanks for watching this. This is our first one, so it's probably a little bit painful, but thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow along as we keep exploring the world of money together. And we'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.
Bye.